So why don't we go ahead and jump right in. Today we're on with Dawnna St Louis. She is transforming experts into successful entrepreneurs. She's the CEO of Biz on Fire and the High Profit Zone, and she's our first repeat visitor.
It was great. So high energy, had me engaged the entire time.
I think what's great about Kevin's message is that, no matter how naturally talented you are, no matter how great you can be, you can always keep striving for that next level. And even, if you become complacent, you might not even realize you've done it. But Kevin really helps you realize, that there's so much more that you can do. If you take a step back, really reevaluate what you're doing and what you're not doing, you can take it to the next level.
I loved his message about God's gift to you and your gift back. And he's just so down to earth and just a helpful, wonderful man.
Really, I think you can put him in front of anybody and you're going to be inspired, you're going to be motivated, you're going to want to go out there and you're going to want to start, reaching for that next level today.
Hey, thanks so much for joining in to the Leadership is Personal podcast, bringing you real-world solutions to real-world challenges in anywhere from 3 to 10 minute increments. Leadership is personal. Here's the better results.
Dawnna, how's it going?
What's up, Kevin? How are you tonight?
I am absolutely wonderful. As you know, we're talking code switching and authenticity. And I'm really excited about having Dawnna on tonight because Dawnna has a very different perspective, I would say, around code switching. Not to mention, our last two leaders were really giving us a corporate perspective around code switching. And Dawnna, being the leader of entrepreneurs and having been an ex-corporate executive, I think she can bring an interesting perspective. Not to mention, she's a woman. And so, in case you didn't know, she's a woman. And so, Dawnna, give me your take on, really quickly, what's your take on code switching and authenticity?
I think code switching actually is a form of prejudice, quite honestly. I think the person who does it is prejudging the other people as not being worthy or even open enough to understand them. And I think that's what it says. It says, hey, you know what? I got to speak in a way that they'll accept me because I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they will.
So that's an interesting perspective. When we had Anton Vincent on, he talked about this whole notion of code switching and the need for code switching maybe being in the heads of the people that are doing code switching, and that the people actually receiving the message wasn't necessarily looking for them to code switch. And so maybe that's further support that we shouldn't be code switching. I think the other thing that's interesting is it's only diverse individuals that code switch. And so your stance is we don't need to do it, huh?
No, not at all. I mean, listen, I'm diverse as all get out. I'm Black, Italian, and Jamaican, right? Everybody in my family is like 5 shades darker than I am, right? I don't look like, literally, I look like, where did I come from when you go to my family reunion? Like, I must be the milkman's baby, right? Seriously, it skipped generations. Like, anything that happened in my ancestry showed up. All them lies showed up with me.
You got it all, huh?
I got it all. And so I've been around the various groups. I've been around very diverse groups that quite honestly had no idea who or what I was. And what I found, and this is what I...
That's strategically nebulous.
Yes, I'm strategically nebulous. And what I found is this. When I don't code switch, and by the way, there was a time that I did. And it was so funny because then when people really got to know me and I let my hair down and I stopped doing it, they would tell me, when I first met you, I didn't like you because you seemed so fake. And now you seem real. And it was, obviously I was trying too hard. Yes, I can conjugate a verb. I've written 6 books. It's not like I don't know how to string some words together. Mm-hmm. However, what I also noticed was this. Here's the one thing that we totally miss out on when we do the whole code switching thing. When I get on stage and when I'm speaking to people or when I use some kind of, slang from the hood or from my background or something like that, and I'll, say something silly like, oh my God, that outfit is on fleek, right? Just as a joke. It's really funny because people will go, some people will know what it is. They'll be like, it is. And then somebody will go, what's on fleek? And then I'll say, come on over here. Let's talk about what it is. And just trying to educate someone else on what that means and even having the joke of, okay, so what's the origination of that? Oh, I don't know. There is no Latin derivative, you know. But then for them to try to use it, and then it becomes one of these things that's really, really, really funny, right? I've learned more things from people who don't code switch when they say things like, you know, well, bless your heart. If somebody says, well, bless his heart in the South, that means you really dumb. Like, you are extra stupid. You are so stupid that they know you need a blessing. You don't learn those things when people are so busy putting away their culture and their history and their ancestry and where they're from. You miss out on all this education. And so that's number one reason not to do it. Number two, if I go and I speak to someone and they judge me because I'm not code switching in order to speak in a way that makes them comfortable, then do I really want to be around them? I don't want to be around someone that ignorant.
I get that. I totally get that.
Right? You need to judge me based on the depths of my character, not on a few words that I put together in a sentence, because I can break it down and bring it up at the same time. Seriously.
You know, it's interesting. I tend to tell people as we talk about this subject, I try to give the listeners a perspective of what the person that I'm looking at looks like, right? What their presentation is. Because quite honestly, you know, within 6 or 7 seconds, we've identified who you are from the moment we see you. And that's where that prejudice maybe comes in. And so listeners of perspective, what are you, maybe 5'9", 5'10"?
I'm 5'9". I'm 5'9". I have curly hair. I have hazel eyes. I have olive complexion skin. I'm extremely curvy.
You know, and so the interesting thing I would wonder around code switching, being fair-skinned and the hazel eyes, and as we call it, strategically nebulous, no one can figure out. Does that give you an advantage where maybe you have to code switch less than someone that say, maybe my complexion at 6'4", 340 pounds?
Well, here's the thing. I have been in enough of the conversations where people didn't know who or what I was to know that there are more people than not that actually prefer that people are authentic. And here's what it really comes down to. If you need to code switch in order to be around a certain group of people, then maybe those are not the people that you need to be around. If I got to change who I am for you to accept me, then you're not accepting me. You're accepting what you want me to be and not who I am. I don't want to be around you. And by the way, you don't deserve the privilege of being around me because I bring entirely too much to the table.
That's interesting.
Right? Yeah. But here's the thing, Kevin. I want you to imagine this for a moment. I want you to imagine that some, melanin challenged person walked up to you and they started, and based on just looking at the color of your skin, they started speaking like they were from the hood. What's up, bruh? How you doing, dog? I see you breaking it down like that today. How would you feel?
I'd be insulted.
Of course you would. Because they judged you by the color of your skin and not the content of your character or the complexities that go along your vernacular. They judged you based on the book, the cover. That's it, not the words that are in it. And they didn't come to you authentically as who they are.
So some might say that that's efficient, right? If I'm in a corporate setting, right? Some might say that it's efficient that I judge you. Let's face it, we all do, right? Of
course we all prejudge, yes.
That person is going to be like who they are. 6 seconds I've pegged who you are, and you either substantiate my perspective or you change my perspective. So
that's right.
It's efficient.
Is it efficient? Because what you're really doing is saying, based on me looking at you, I have to change who I am so that you will accept me. So either number one, I'm prejudiced and I'm prejudging you as accepting a certain type. Or number two, I lack confidence and I don't recognize who I am then, and that who I am is good enough.
So we had a whole lot of discussion about being effective relative to code switching and authenticity. What if someone needs to be comfortable with you in order for you to effectively get your message across or get from them what you need from them? And
Say that one more time. Somebody needs to be comfortable with me. Here's the thing. If you're going to be comfortable with me, you need to come to me as who you are. If you come to me as something other than who you are, the one thing that we have as human beings on this planet is this sixth sense. It has kept us alive for a millennia, right? And so when people come to you as something other than who they really, really are, that sixth sense kicks in and you know there's something not quite right. It's that feeling in your gut. It's the spider sense that says, I don't know. I can't figure it out. Just something's, I don't know.
You know, I'm inclined to believe that, Dawnna, there's a certain maturation that happens for you to get comfortable enough in your own skin in any environment to simply be you, right? And so
Absolutely.
As we think about, you know, frankly, some of my listeners are Gen Zers or millennials, and some are senior executives who, frankly, feel the need to code switch. What would you say to them?
Well, so here's the first thing. First of all, make sure that you are educated enough so that whichever environment you go in, you're comfortable in that environment in your skin. I speak on stages in front of thousands of people. And you know what? The way I sound right now and the way I sound on stage and the way that I've always sounded is the way that I've always sounded. Right. But at the end of the day, I'm also the same person that will sit down and, you know, I listen to audiobooks more so than I read them. I listen to them voraciously. Right. So I'm always looking for a way to educate myself. If you can't conjugate a verb, if you can't figure out how to put a proper sentence together, then code switching is not going to help you.
Well, clearly you know how to, because not everybody walks around every day saying voraciously. So
but I'm just saying my point is that if you're, the first thing you have to do is educate yourself, because here's the thing, code switching isn't going to help you if you're stupid. It's not. It's just not. If you can't figure out how to string a sentence together, no amount of code switching is going to make you any better. That's number one. Number two, there is nothing more attractive to anyone on this planet than confidence. I don't mean cockiness. I mean confidence. And when someone comes at you exactly who they are at all times, that confidence exudes. And so if you just come and say, you know what, this is just who I am, take it or leave it, people would prefer to know where they stand with you and know who you are than it is to wonder.
So here's a question.
Code switching makes people wonder.
So here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Have you gotten this way? Because, okay, so those of you guys who don't know, Dawnna happened to start a little business. It happened to grow that business to about $250 million consultancy. Nothing. And so your ability to do that sort of gives you an added level of confidence. And some might call it FU money to be able to say, I am me. And so have you always been this way? You talked about maybe code switching in the past. Has your success in business helped to cement you for kind of who you are relative to your confidence and your lack of a need or feeling like you need to code switch?
So let me tell you what happened. I will totally lay this out for you. So when I started working in corporate where I had to go around and I had to do all these presentations, I looked at all the women that were in executive roles that I was going to be working with, and they all had blonde hair, blue eyes, and wore pearls and suits every day. So I took my very dark, naturally curly hair, and I not only made it blonde, but I blow dried it straight every day and wore it in a bun. Yes, there are pictures. And I wore pearls.
By the way.
Yeah. And I wore pearls, and I wore beige colored suits. If anybody ever saw me, they'd go, you did what? Right?
I'm not believing this, right? So I need
right. I wore pastels, dude. Pastels. That's all I'm saying. And what happened was I was not winning the deals at all. And so I wasn't winning the sales deals. And so what happened was, and I did this, by the way, because I thought it was because it was my business, but I had a business partner who was a CEO. And so I kind of had this thing of it's what my CEO kind of expected. And so therefore it's what I did. And we weren't winning deals. And I looked at him and I said, you know what? Why don't I just do what I do? And why don't you just let me do what I do? And I said, because we have nothing to lose. We either going to lose this deal or we not going to lose it. But so far we've been losing it doing it your way. So why don't we do it my way? And I literally did not blow dry my hair that day. It was still blonde. I put on a black suit. I had on like some crazy color shirt. I had on crazy color shoes because that's what I love. I changed my makeup. I did not wear pearls. I wore metal jewelry because that's what I loved. And I went in and I spoke like the way that I speak right now. And when somebody said something, I said, listen, the one thing I tell you about biz and telling what we do is our pimp game is really strong. And I said that.
Wait. Say that again.
I said, the one thing I'm going to tell you about biz and tell is our pimp game is really strong. And I was talking about how we were talking about data because we had a business intelligence company. And I was saying, and I said it just
Florida twang, right?
right. And they were like, the one guy said, "Your what?" I said, "My pimp game. We keep our data in line." It's just like that. And the guy just.
This is the Leadership is Personal podcast, and I love the notion that we keep it real here.
I said it just like that, and everybody started laughing in the room. And I said, we keeps our data in line. Let me tell you, nothing gets out of line. We know exactly what we're doing. We're bringing it from your data. We do our extract, transform, and load. We pop it into our systems. We make sure that everything is tight and all right. You don't have to worry about that because that's what we do. And then I flipped from that and started talking about numbers. And they were literally just blown away. And the one guy said, "You know why I'm going to sign with you?" And I said, "Why?" He goes, "Because I think I love you. I really think in this moment, I just fell in love with you." He goes, "Everybody else is so boring and you just are who you are." From that moment, I never went back.
Wow. From that moment, you learned.
I never went back.
I just need to do it.
I just need to be me. You know, it takes ovarian audacity and testicular fortitude to step up and be who you are. But once you do it, you do it. And here's the thing. The goal is not for you to be everybody's cup of tea. You don't want to be everybody's cup of tea because, like I always say, imagine the tea bagging. Nobody wants that. You really want to be who you are. You don't want if everybody doesn't love you, great. I am building haters every day because I need somebody's back to stand on so my fans can see me.
I want to make sure y'all got that. Dawnna just said she needs haters so that she can have someone's back to stand on so that her fans can see her.
Yeah.
A little bit profound.
I want to make sure I don't right here.
Dawnna is crazy. Wicked smart, totally authentic, always, and you just never know what's going on. You just never know. But that's what's so refreshing, quite honestly. And that's why I really wanted to have you on, so that people could understand that there's more than one way to skin a cat, as people say, right? There's more.
Right. Absolutely. And the thing is, Kevin, here's the thing. There was a time where, again, I did the code switching thing, and it was absolutely hilarious because I had these men that were leaders of these huge companies. And here I am, CEO of, at the time, very small consulting company, right? We were doing, a couple $100 million. We were doing good, but they would tell me how intimidated they were by me. When I code switched, when I stopped code switching, guess what? They were still intimidated, but they liked me.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Why were they intimidated? I'm told and I can't tell you why people say they're intimidated by me, because to me, that's their problem, not mine. It's not like I'm rolling in talking about, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come in here, and the pimp hand going to be strong, and I'm going to take these 6-inch heels. That's not happening. I walk in, I smile, I shake hands, I sit down, we talk numbers. What it really comes down to is their own insecurities. It has nothing to do with me. I can't be responsible for somebody else's feeling of intimidation. My goal is always to try to help people get to where they want to be. And sometimes people say, well, I don't want to look stupid in front of you. And I'm like, well, your lack of courage to look stupid is going to keep you from moving forward. I want to look like the dumbest person in class. So when I ask all the questions and get all the answers, I'm the smartest person when I leave.
So how does that, if you're talking to a male colleague,
Mm-hmm.
is there a difference in your feedback to them?
No, not at all. Here's the thing. If people can just be a little vulnerable, that's what this really comes down to, quite honestly. Most people code switch because they lack the ability to be vulnerable. And to be vulnerable is one of the strongest things that you could do. So people are code switching because they're putting on a mask that they think other people will accept because they're afraid that they won't be accepted as they are. But here's the question. What if you were? What if you were the person that just said, you know what, today I'm going to go out and be just who I am. I'm going to dress how I like to dress. I'm going to not wear the mask. I'm going to speak how I speak and either accept me or not. It takes guts and courage to do that. But here's the thing. The moment that you're a little vulnerable and you let people know, hey, guess what? I failed a lot. I mean, people always think that I come up with this thing like I'm better than them. And I'm like, I ain't better than anybody. Let me break it down to you. I used to sleep in the backseat of my car. I was homeless. I got no room to judge anybody. Like, seriously, at all. Y'all, I had to pee in the woods. Just saying. Like,
you had what?
I had to pee in the woods. I got no room to judge anyone.
What Dawnna just said is, fact. She was homeless.
Yeah.
Yes, a woman that grew a consultancy to multiple 9 digits was homeless. What was that like? Relative to and code switching at that moment. I mean, during that time, what was that?
Let me tell you something. The one thing that saved my life was my ability when I was completely homeless to actually be vulnerable and ask for help. I was in that position because I couldn't ask for help. I got out of that position because I was vulnerable enough to ask for help. To go, you know what? I can't figure this out by myself. Will you help me?
Well, Dawnna, if we're talking about business, essentially in business, folks are taught not to show vulnerability.
You want to fail? You want to fail in business? Don't be vulnerable. Don't say, I don't know. Don't ask for help. Act like you have all the answers. I can give you the number one way for you to go ahead and fail. Be the smartest person in the room all the time. You're going to be broke and stupid. I'm telling you right now.
So Dawnna happens to be right now at a high profit zone retreat at a mansion in Florida with a house full of people from across the pond. That's London.
Right.
Dawnna, before we go, because I know I'm holding you up. Dawnna, what's the last little tidbit that you might share with our listeners as you begin to head back to your group?
Here's the number one thing you have to understand, regardless of where you are, where you work, what you do. And this is so important. If people don't accept you for who you are, they are not your friends, and they're never going to be. And what they're really looking for in all the things that you do to try to make them accept you, they're not looking for reasons to accept you. They're looking for reasons not to accept you. So you're fighting a losing battle. So you might as well be who you are and then find both your middle fingers, throw them up to your haters, stand on their backs, and the people who love you will be so much more attracted to you because you know who you are and they are wishing they could be the same way.
So you are playing to your fans.
I love
your fans wholeheartedly. Look,
I love my people. I call them my family because you know what? They accept me for who I am and I accept them for who they are.
Yeah, well, there's clearly not 2 Dawnnas because I just don't think the universe can handle that. Right? As I say to the listeners as we talk about authenticity and code switching, I'm a firm believer that we like to create the space and the place for people to be who they are and to party authentically. When we do that, we all win. We scale, we grow, we move much more rapidly because we're not wasting our synapse and our brain power on trying to be someone that we're not. I understand the need for some folks to code switch if they feel comfortable. And I do think it's a maturation process that we get to a point where we go, you know what? The hell with all this code switching. I'm just going to be me because that's what we're pushing. And so I would say, Dawnna, thank you for joining us. I had a blast tonight, as usual, when we talked with Dawnna St. Louis. I'm sure this will not be the last time. I promise you, next month on #MeTooMovement, as we cover that, I'm going to try not to call you. Not to include you yet again. But Dawnna, you bring a very fresh and a different perspective. It is always a phenomenal time. We always have a good time. Thanks for coming out, and say hello to our friends from across the pond.
If you join us here each and every week, you'll get a tidbit of information and insight that'll help you be the best version of yourself. Come back next week. Be sure to join us on Facebook within the Facebook group. Check us out on Twitter and on Instagram. Kevin D. Wright. Look us up. Check us out. Link to us online. Love to hear from you. Unlike some of the other podcasts, I want to hear directly from you, and I will answer your question. There's no question too tough, so together we can solve it. Stop back and tell a friend. Leadership is personal. Here's the better results.